So, Steven, you have how many brothers and sisters?
I have 3 brothers and 2 sisters.
How many cousins is that?
I've got like 51 first cousins on my mom's side.
You have 51 first cousins?
On my mom's side. Irish Catholic, yeah.
How do they look?
I've got 2. I've got my
dad's side, though, I only have like
You only
4.
have 2 cousins or 2 brothers?
No, 2 cousins.
On both sides?
Yeah, well, my
Total?
mom's side of the family, I mean, there's like second cousins down there, but I'm talking about first cousins. I've got my dad's brother.
Ones that you have to stay hands off.
My dad has...
Second and third is...
Questionable.
That's questionable.
Hashtag second and third is questionable?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, whatever. Let's get started. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. Welcome to RAWtalk episode number 218 as we venture our way to whatever number it is that we're ever going to get to with this show. Oh, yeah. Hey, we get a 19 next.
We get a 9 coming
like
up.
Everyone knows that they're clubs.
Exactly.
Well, anyway.
Took me a minute.
So we're here. We've got some updates for you.
Yes.
There's been some changes in the last couple of weeks. We've been working hard here at the factory. There's a bathroom upstairs now.
I'm going to blow it up. Something terrible.
Nope.
Todd, what's
No
it say
pooping.
when the door closes?
If this is... What did I say? I forget what I said.
If this is closed, hold your nose.
That's what I said.
And that comes on the door when you slide it shut.
Because Dan and I will have to suffer up here while your shit lingers.
Render that,
in the entire
nerds!
editing room.
Render
That's
that!
what Poopery is for, brought to you by Poopery.
No.
And that's what the ventilation fan is for that's not in
I
it.
was going to say, there's no ventilation fan
Not
in there.
yet, not yet.
All right,
it will be
good.
up to code.
Good. Thank God.
And by up to code, I mean it won't be.
Won't be able to handle Todd's...
Well, that's what downstairs... But it's funny, downstairs, there's a Fro freshener hanging.
I think, did you do that,
Saw
Dan?
that.
Yeah, Dan
It
did
smells
that.
pretty good. Was that Dracar? Plumeria? Well, Plumeria is not... Anyway, it's a flower.
I had that in college.
Updates. We started the Photo News Fix. We have 4 of those, at least, well, 3 technically out when we're filming this. Another one's coming out after this
We'll
is
have
over.
a couple more out.
There will be a bunch out. Photo News Fix, the whole idea behind that is to give you a quick 5-minute, roughly, take on the 3 or so photo news stories that are interesting.
Get your fix.
As timely as possible. Sometimes, we're trying to figure out what days we're going to release them. Will it be every Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Will it be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday? We're not sure. We're trying to figure all that out and seeing what works the best, and it's just figuring it out. But so far, I think you guys like Photo News Fix. That does mean that Photo News is shifting slightly on RAWtalk, and we'll figure all that out as well.
Yep.
But so far, the results have been good. People seem to really like it. I enjoy doing it. It looks
They like
good.
my edits. They really like my edits.
Todd hasn't edited one of them.
No.
Steven did the first 2.
I did the first one, built a template for it, and then Dan's
then
been
Dan
doing
did it.
And Dan
the
messed
rest
up the rest
few.
of them. Right?
Yeah.
Right. All right. So we've got Photo News Fix for you guys to check out, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can be notified when new videos go live.
Yep.
We got the Tamron video that came out. I know Todd wanted to mention something about that.
Todd
no.
actually wasn't on that shoot for
Yeah,
once.
I wasn't on the shoot. That was what I was questioning, and I had a question earlier.
It was much
for
better.
Steven. Like, who's the better second shooter? Is it Dan, or is it the tried and true Todd second shooter that crushes nonstop?
Seriously, I could do a
anyone-
better job than Todd.
Anyone is better than Todd.
That is a filthy lie.
People probably have this
That's
like
why Jared
vision that-
always steals my shots for all his photos.
Touche.
Yeah, but none
Mine
of
might
Todd's
not be in
stuff.
focus.
See, the
but
thing is, Todd has great framing, but
Nothing's
it's
in
never
focus and nothing's stable.
never
well,
in focus.
I think he does have
it's shaky as
Parkinson's.
hell.
That's called Parkinson's.
Yeah.
So.
Do you
Yeah.
have Parkinson's?
Yeah,
I don't
Michael
have
J.
Parkinson's.
You don't have Parkinson's. Too soon, Steven.
But Dan did great. He did a really good job. We taught him on the XC10 because the XC10 is a weird camera to work. It's like a hybrid camcorder / DSLR. And
Dan's
it's just
weird
odd.
too. Did he talk the whole time?
He tried to talk until Jared shut him up. But he did great. I think the whole video came out great.
He didn't really answer the question though. Hold on.
It was a good video.
1 second. Steven.
anyway,
Yes, Todd.
moving on.
He's not going to answer.
The Tamron video is up there. That came out a little bit while ago. You
Dan
guys
did
were
better.
looking at it. We're still filming with it. It's actually getting sent back right after the show.
Last time, yeah.
It's going to get dropped into the UP of S, so it can go back to the Tamron people. We have a couple of lenses we're trying to get to. It is not easy to do all the real-world reviews and everything in a timely fashion.
Even the Photo News Fix videos take a while.
They do, but I think we're going to work that out into a pretty good clip.
We will. Yeah.
We'll just beat Dan into submission.
Yeah.
Just abuse him.
Slave
a
him
little
away.
more.
We also put out
24 hours a day.
the gaffer power tape, 18 ways of using gaff tape. Pretty cool video. Steven did most of that. He ate potato chips.
Yeah, did you like my lint roller? for potato
I
chips.
saw that.
Yeah,
I
I
saw
saw you
that.
link
I like
crushed.
that. Yeah,
I like number
that.
3, which was how to seal a bag
Oh yeah,
of potato chips.
crush the bag literally.
So you've got that.
Crushed it.
And I don't know. That's about all I got. Anybody else? Anything
No.
before we get into the new photo news
I
section?
just wanted to talk about the photo news fix in general. Just the time we took to build a set for that. The set dressing was probably half a day.
Yep.
Figuring that out. I think it looks great. We have it set now where basically the downstairs we flick a switch and turn the lights on and we're set to record.
Yeah.
We need a few more lights in general for the whole place so we can switch them around for different sets that we'll have. But
Yep.
it's just nice to know that we can come in at 9 in the morning, write the script out,
Yeah.
do a run through, and then actually record
We're
right away.
basically
and boom.
juggling gear right now between 2 levels.
Between
So
RAWtalk
it's,
and
yeah,
downstairs.
it's all going to figure it out. And we just got to figure out how news evolves in RAWtalk
Yes,
now. And
that as well.
that conversation, and I'm assuming the audience will chime in on what they like and don't like,
Yeah.
as they
Yeah.
always do.
But one of the lights that we've been using down there, and I'll talk about this, but this will be Gear of the Week later. This aperture light. This is the
The box is right there if you want to read
It's
exactly
the
the model number.
HR672C from, it's the Amaran, AMARAN by Aperture. This is the bicolor one, kind of like Todd. It goes,
Yep.
Both ways.
Both ways.
Yeah.
and it is light and dark too.
Oh.
So it could give you
Especially if we're
the,
related.
what?
Nothing.
I didn't hear what he said.
Nothing. I didn't
Anyway,
say
well, I'll talk more about that in Gear of the Week, but we're putting those lights behind things to give a nice little
A nice
proof
practical, you know, a
of
nice, nice little tungsten light in the background. It looks really nice.
Love mixed color.
Let's get to the photo news section of the RAWtalk, which is being evolved and a little different than before since we have the photo news fix.
So basically, now we're going to try and cut it down from, say, 10 to 12 news stories to maybe the top 5 of the week.
But have a deeper discussion.
Have more of a discussion about it, more topical.
More
things that-
interruptions.
More
things like that.
interruptions.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Perfect.
I think people will enjoy that better.
But we'll see how it pans out. You know, who knows? Maybe we'll go back to the old style. Maybe we'll cut it down even more.
Sure.
I think the fix will at least get people by.
Maybe we'll just not do it at all.
Maybe
We'll
just
just
not
fire
do it
you
at
all
all.
together and just be done with it.
Yeah. Dick. First up, we got Fuji announced their first hybrid Instax camera. It's called the SQ10.
Stupid.
The SQ in the name stands for square.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, is it new film?
It's a square format
It's
film.
not Instax Mini?
No, it's square format.
Oh, wait a second. They trying to be
Polaroid.
shake it like a Polaroid picture.
So yeah.
Hey,
Nope.
Hey,
So it'll be reminiscent
Hey,
of the old Polaroid days, printing out the square 1:1 format photos. Now the full print will measure about 86 by 72 millimeters, with the photo itself being about 2.4 inches by 2.4 inches.
Like Todd.
Sounds like Todd, which is actually much smaller than the standard Polaroid print. So it's not as big.
But talk about the hybrid part.
the hybrid part, it can shoot both digital and instant pictures.
How far does it go on a tank of gas?
Housed inside, it has a 1/4-inch CMOS sensor for 1920 by 1920 JPEG, your favorite images.
Oh.
And I'm also surprised they didn't do like 2048 pixels wide, because that's kind of the standard with the internet today, like Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Why
yeah.
1920, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It also has an internal memory capable of storing around 50 photos with
1920 is because it's a video capture.
but they're not capturing video.
But maybe that's what kind of sensor it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
Now, it also has an expandable micro SD slot if you want to store more than 50 JPEG images. This
That's
one,
what my phone is for.
exactly.
What the?
But
what the?
your phone doesn't
Whoa,
print out
whoa,
square Polaroid-like pictures.
No, but I could buy the Instax printer.
The square print, what's it called? The SP1 or SP2?
Whatever it is, it's not square, but Jesus, crimmity crappity.
Yeah.
It just, this is stupid. Insta, what are you called? Fuji. Stick with what worked. Everybody loves your Instax Mini because it's so unique and different. Now with digital, it's like, nah, I'll take a picture. I don't like it. It's like,
so cute.
Now, one thing
And
they
it doesn't
did
have a-
do right, though, in this one, it comes with a now rechargeable battery via micro USB, so there's no more weird CR2 batteries.
Yeah, but
Or
not
some
all of
their-
them had
Some of
that.
them take AA
the
batteries.
90, the one I have at home, has a charger for it.
Yes, but some of them also just take AA or the weird CR2 batteries. Like I know the SP1
Wait a
and
second.
SP2
Say that
printer.
again. Double A.
AA.
MCO. Hey.
And on the outside, it has a fixed 35mm equivalent lens of 28.5mm with an f2.4 aperture.
Not good for selfies.
For the first time, though, in an Instax camera, you'll find a 3-inch color LCD screen on the back with an awesome low resolution of 460K dots.
Oh, nice.
Other features include facial recognition. It has 10 different built-in filters, like
Can you recognize
Instagram-like
the face
filters.
on the back of the screen at that resolution?
Exactly. It has built-in photo editing inside and a bunch more. And the big difference here is that there's no viewfinder. So it's all all controlled and framed via live view screen.
Oh.
So it's no more looking through and framing it like a camera. It's now
like
like
a
the
phone.
digital age.
It's like a phone. It's like a phone.
No, this is stupid.
Except with an extremely low resolution.
And how much is this junky thing?
So this thing will be $280.
No, it won't.
And it's out May 19th.
No,
That's the
it
other
won't.
thing is this is very expensive for an
And how much
Instax
is each
camera.
print?
Each print is, for a 10-pack, it's $17. So that's $1.70 a print.
Is there a swinger model though?
No swinger model. No.
What a
They
joke.
didn't
What a
copy Polaroid
joke.
on that end. Yeah. So we'll see if this actually does well. I mean, I still personally like the
I like the Instax.
I like the Instax as well, the 2x3.
The kids
minis.
love that.
Yeah. Your
It's
daughter has
cute.
one, right? You bought her one?
Yeah, she loves all that
I
crap.
bought my girlfriend one. She loves it too. She has the Polaroid as well, like the old SX70.
If you
but
want to
she-
take bad digital pictures, we all walk around with something in our pocket.
And I also have the SP1 printer, which is that Instax printer. I think
Me too.
that's great for your cell phone. But I do think it also looks like crap when you print it from your cell
Well,
phone.
they have a second one. They have a new printer
They have
which
the
was-
SP2.
lets you print it darker.
Yes.
Oh.
And now I think with our
Press the
phone shooting
blacks.
RAW, it's probably not compressing it twice to JPEG and then printing it out. Now you can compress it once, print it out, and it looks
that's cool.
decent. Even when you're still printing it from a phone
It's
anyway.
still an
sure.
Instax. They don't care.
Exactly.
Like when you're sending that dick pic to your friend.
And this you can also
They don't
switch.
care.
Like you can fix the vignette, you can make it worse,
No, all right.
better,
I've had enough
all
of that.
kinds of stuff. But yeah, so the new SQ10 from Fuji Instax.
So what did we learn today? Fuji is going against what has been working by making something that sucks, is overpriced, $1.70 to make a print, and it's just stupid.
I think if it was more affordable,
And why doesn't Fuji return my calls?
true. And I think if it also had some kind of viewfinder, anything, even just a piece of glass to look through, like a rangefinder, I think then it would be more reminiscent of their current mini line, and it would be better. I like the square format, but I don't know, $280.
Seems weird.
Yeah. Canon has made it official. CLOG will soon be available for the 5D Mark IV,
Excuse me, Canon wants you to call it Canon Log.
which
And-
is CLOG.
Exactly.
Yes. And every other camera manufacturer always abbreviates it S-Log, V-Log, whatever it may be.
Slog.
CLOG.
Vlog.
Clog.
Yeah.
Clog. You ever get kicked with clogs, by the way?
Clogs, yeah. They're
Well, how
rough.
many girls kicked you with clogs in Germany?
Well,
when
I
we were
was
there?
hot in the streets when I was like in 5th grade, and clog kicking you in the junk
1946.
was a terrible,
just
tear-wrenching thing in elementary school.
Because little Todd's probably sitting there. Hey Sanchez.
Hey, Twad.
Hey Sanchez. Can we get a little Todd in 5th grade?
Twad.
Little Todd in 5th grade, running around with glasses, no goatee,
No glasses.
making fun. No
glasses.
glasses. Making fun of a girl, and her coming up and kicking him in the nuts with her clogs. And he's like,
or the time when I chased them around the recess and ripped their dress off, ripped the skirt off.
nowadays
My bad.
you would become
Whoops.
a sex offender these days if you tried that.
I was definitely a 1st grade sex offender.
Hey, ripped your dress off.
Pimpin' ain't easy.
Little Billy O'Reilly.
Who's Billy O'Reilly? Is that?
Oh, too soon. Bill O'Reilly.
Oh, Bill O'Reilly. I'm like Billy O'Reilly.
Oh, that was funny.
Well, he actually never got that close anyway.
So this marks the first time Canon Log will be introduced into a DSLR.
Clog.
Yeah, CLOG, excuse me.
Wait, Drano?
That's what they told me. They prefer clog.
Now, it's been in the 1DC.
Hey, wait. Hashtag clog.
I don't know if necessarily the 1DC is considered a DSLR or not because it's part of their Cinema EOS line.
No, not at the
It's still
price
the
that
form
thing
factor
was.
of a DSLR, and I think it does have a mirror, I believe, so technically it might be. But and as far as the 5D lineup goes, this is the first time, which is pretty big.
Right.
One big caveat, though, it's a paid upgrade. It will cost 5D users $99 if you want to upgrade to the log picture style, the CLOG picture style. Also, you will need to send it into a Canon service center for the upgrade. This is not just a simple firmware upgrade like initially rumored. And future 5D Mark IVs will also be available to get the CLOG pre-installed starting this summer, which will bump the price up to $3,600 if you're buying a brand new 5D Mark IV in after July. So I'm not sure if they'll consider this like a separate model, if there's going to be like a video-centric 5D versus the still
No, it's just
side.
going to say with C-Log.
Or just, yeah, with CLOG. I don't know if the packaging's going to change.
I don't know why they didn't just do that in the first place, for one. Two, from what I'm told, is that you can drop it. You can drive to one of 5 Canon centers in the country, in the United States, to take it to get done.
There's only 5.
There's 5.
Wow.
There's one in Jersey.
I know there's one close to us, yeah.
You can drop it off there. You can send it in, but now you're without your camera. But why don't we talk about the rumor side of it? For the last 2 months, we've been hearing how Canon Rumors has confirmed that 4K...
There was going to be a crop factor change.
All of this.
There was going to be a codec change, a frame rate change, a resolution change.
And the frustrating part about that is that Canon's going to take a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Because now that they put this out, people are not going to be super enthused. Well, one, it's $99 to upgrade, which is kind of a pain in the ass. They have to do some kind of upgrade to it.
Should have been free.
That they should have. Well, I guess it's been out for 6 months, so there's that. But now they're going to get crap from people who read Canon Rumors and were like, oh, but you said there was going to be all of this laundry list of stuff, which none of it is included in the release.
Yeah.
None of it.
None of it.
Just the C-Log.
The most exciting parts aren't included.
Yeah.
Right, but that's wishful thinking.
Yeah.
And so Canon's going to get crap and be like, well, but you guys suck for not upgrading this. Well, they never planned on it. It was not a planned thing.
If there was never a rumor in the first place, this would have been crazy exciting news for everyone. If it was just randomly C-Log, it's big news, blah, blah, blah.
True.
Because I know other camera manufacturers have had a log format for quite some time, a picture style, but with Canon, the 5D, that's big news for 5D users.
That
and
is
just
a big
Canon
deal.
users.
Well, so tell people what
the
the CLOG gives them.
wider dynamic range, better latitude and post. So, for example, if we were shooting something like this and we didn't want to, we had blown out windows and maybe dark shadows, just high dynamic range in general, we can finesse that in post. Shoot
just more data to be able to finesse in post.
Yeah. So we also hear that there's going to be not just a software tweak if you send it in to get serviced to have the CLOG update. There's also going to be some kind of hardware change.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the hardware change is.
Not sure what it is. There was no news or announcement on that.
That's crazy.
Kind of always scares me to break open my camera, but I know that's what they do.
That's their job.
So
I don't worry about that.
what are you going to do? Are you going to send yours in, Todd? Because you probably don't even shoot log anyway.
He has to
Probably
send
not
it in.
for that. I mean, if I want something with that much dynamic range, I'm probably not shooting it with my Mark IV.
I mean, it is great now, though, that you can match, say, the XC10 that shoots C-Log or the C100, C300. You can match all the Cinema EOS
That's
line.
true.
Have
That's
this as a
true.
B or C camera.
Todd rather uses his 60D.
With the kit lens.
Exactly. But
Glass.
But do you want to be without your camera for?
Well, that's the other thing. Is like,
How long does it
What's
take?
the turnaround?
is it going to be a week? Well, he said that it could take maybe takes about an hour to do it.
So if you go to a center, could you walk in and walk out that day?
if they're not super busy, but I
I
would
was going
get
to
in
say,
there.
what if it's backed up?
Well, I mean,
then it's clogged.
then it's clogged. I mean, I would go in there and be like, "Do you know who this guy is? This is Todd Wolf."
Yeah.
He demands that his camera be fixed.
Do you know who I am?
Do you know what my story is?
Don't have me come into your workspace and clog things here as well.
Now, I also wonder, will the 1DX Mark II get this update? Will this just be because that's going to be bad for 1DX users that want to shoot, because 1DX users can currently shoot 4K at 60, I think, right? 4K 60?
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, they did the 120. Remember, we did
They did
120.
1080 120, 4K 60. So, if users want to shoot 4K 60, they're getting the 1DX Mark II, the more serious filmmakers, but they're not going to have C-Log, or will they? Will they have that upgrade to
It's a
their...
challenge from a PR perspective.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
It is.
So we'll see how people react.
But at the same time, the 5D has always been the line that has been the video-centric line.
Yeah.
That's always been the serious professional...
And I've always said personally, like, there's nothing that quite looks like a 5D video-wise.
Yeah.
Now, whether you love it or you hate it, I mean,
some
there's
fast
just a
glass
look
on
that I
there.
really, really like about it, and it's disappointing that this wasn't built in from the beginning, but we'll see.
Disappointed.
Because then you have other brands like the Panasonic and the GH5 that are just like light years ahead in terms of video and their consumer
just not
cameras. Well, yeah, the focus issue, but
Yeah.
hopefully they'll fix that soon.
Yep.
Then we have Ahndee Warhol's estate is suing famed music
Ahndee.
photographer Lynn
Ahndee.
Goldsmith.
I'm Ahndee Warhol.
Ahndee.
Ahndee Warhol.
You guys saw vinyl, right?
We did see vinyl.
I did watch
That's what it sounded like.
Ahndee Warhol.
You did a good job, whoever
Come
acted
over
that.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come over here, darling. I'll sign it for you.
I'll steal your photo.
So his estate is
Sit in
suing
front of my camera.
Lynn
Let the video
Goldsmith.
take it.
before she sues them for copyright infringement. So they allege that Goldsmith attempted to extort a settlement from the Warhol Foundation. Here's the story. Back in 1981, Goldsmith took a publicity portrait of Prince, and then 3 years later, Warhol decided to create a series called prints and quote-unquote drew inspiration from Goldsmith's iconic picture.
And by inspiration, he means he directly copied it.
Copied,
copied it, in my opinion.
Yep.
It's the same damn thing.
It's a sample.
It's a sample.
Pretty much.
Ding 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 ding.
All right, stop.
So Lynn has been complaining to the Warhol estate that she believes more than inspiration was at play with his series, but Warhol's estate claims the makeup in the eye differs, as well as the angle of Prince's face.
The makeup in the eye differs. You can totally see it right here, doll.
Why did you do that
different
accent
picture.
in Photo News Fix?
Why?
It's good.
Thank you.
It's probably your best one.
Yeah,
Ahndee.
for sure.
I'm not even going to try to imitate it. 'cause
I'm
it's
not even
pretty
mad
good.
that you're
Yeah, it's pretty
interrupting.
good.
Ahndee Warhol. Well, I don't know if Ahndee did coke or drugs. He may have been a straight edge for all we know. But
could be.
when they say that the
I
angles
doubt
were
it back
off,
in that day, but
well, when the angles were like, we don't know. So allegedly, just in my opinion or something. He saying the angles were off. Yeah, he was probably doing coke at the time, and it was skewed.
slightly
You
skewed.
really play an eccentric, like douchebag artist really well.
Thank you,
because he plays in real life.
Todd. Will you come over later? Would you like to get into my swing? You can sit in front of my camera.
So creepy. Don't call me like that. Don't call me on the phone. Like
Hi, Ahndee. So I didn't know how Ahndee Warhol died a bunch of months
We
ago.
looked it up as we were
no,
filming.
No, I looked it up a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I thought you looked it up right there and then.
No, I knew a couple weeks. I think I said, Alexa, how did Ahndee Warhol die? and it brought up Wikipedia, and then I read it, and it said that he died from complications from gallbladder surgery.
That sucks.
And he was afraid to go into the hospital because he was afraid they were going to kill him.
That sucks.
So here's where this gets interesting. Goldsmith states that the photograph was originally licensed in
at this photograph.
Nope.
licensed in 1984 as reference material for a one-time use in the print version of Vanity Fair to create an illustration. She also says that the image the estate is showing in the lawsuit is not the same one she licensed them. She licensed them a slightly different frame, which was black and white, and then overlaid it with the painting. The angles pretty much match perfectly.
Lynn, dear.
Perfectly.
Lynn, darling. It's the same. It's different. Art is anything you can get away with, babe.
So Warhol estate attorney Luke Nickus says, although Warhol often used photographs taken by others as inspiration for his portraits,
The inspiration, baby.
Warhol's works were entirely new creations.
Totally new.
As would be plain to any reasonable observer, each portrait in Warhol's Prince series fundamentally transformed the visual aesthetic and meaning of the Prince publicity photograph.
Basically, that's lawyer speak for you're an asshole if you think anything else, because I'm a lawyer and I'm going to just say whatever I want to say because my name's Nick Ass.
The Warhol estate cited Goldsmith's own Facebook post as evidence as well.
It's not evidence.
That she was well aware that Warhol's painting was protected under law.
No.
Goldsmith said in the post, it is a crime that so many quote-unquote artists can get away with taking photographers' images and painting on them or doing whatever to them without asking permission of the artist who created the image in the first place.
Like this one. I didn't ask for permission for that.
There was no permission given. Just taken. That's in reference to when I in Photo News
Hilton.
Fix, when I brought up how Perez Hilton got in trouble for drawing dicks all over people's faces and taking the photos from Getty, and he got sued because of it. But I don't know why he lost, because
He should have been able to sell those pictures.
he should have been like Dick Prince.
Yep.
Remember Robert Kaplan was a part of that, wasn't he?
Robert Kaplan?
Yeah, he was a part of like Perez Hilton stealing his
Oh,
images or something
that's
because he
right.
worked for the Times.
I should call him right now. Oh, he's not allowed to. He's
Probably
not
comment
allowed
on
to
the-
discuss
Yeah.
the settlement that is involved with that.
I'm sure.
I recall.
He's got a CLOG clause.
I think we did talk to him about that when you were interviewed by him.
Did I?
Yeah, in private. But
Did I? And
Andy, please leave. Please leave.
wait,
I can't figure out if I'm turned on or if I'm actually creeped out
can
by
I get a
this.
phone call, please?
Hello. It's Ahndee Warhol.
Yeah, Andy, I sent you that fucking picture and you painted all over it. That's not cool, man.
Excuse me, babe. You're a babe, right?
No, this is Carl. I sent you a picture of my wife just for shits and giggles, and you painted all over her and you just sold it. It was my naked wife.
Nah, I just put on booby pictures and I just put some stuff on her, darling, and she loved every minute of it.
What do you mean she loved it?
Oh, she was here in person, right?
Andy, you can't borrow my wife either.
No, I borrowed her. I only used her a little bit and painted all over her body.
Andy, I hate you.
Finger painting, that is.
Ew.
I can sell whatever I want because art is whatever you can get away with.
What did you get away with? Because she doesn't let me do everything.
Well, funny thing about
Cut right there. Cut right
Is that like an
And
improv?
scene.
Is that like an improv when somebody walks across the
that
stage?
you should definitely edit right there.
Stepped.
So to end that, Goldsmith says Warhol infringed her rights, and she plans on opposing their action and counterclaim for copyright infringement.
Hashtag Lynn Goldsmith should win because this is a bunch of bullshit.
That is
Yes.
bullshit.
This is bullshit. The fact that you could say that they're different because no, any reasonable person, Nick reasonable Nick ass can
Clearly.
see that the pictures are exactly the same.
Clearly.
Why in the art world can you get away with stealing somebody's work, putting a stick figure on it, and calling it your own when in music you can't do that, darling? Next,
And it's still the art world too. In the end,
Man,
they're still art worlds. They're still the same thing.
do
Music
I hate
and
the
It's so weird
paint.
to me.
I
whatever.
hate the art world so much. They're just so effective. Vocal
transformed.
fry.
And it's not even like it's parody.
No, not at all.
I don't think it falls
I don't
under
think that-
parody. It's,
or
it's
fair use
weird
or
that it
anything.
happens with
The
photography.
Campbell soup can. The Campbell soup can.
I get it. I mean, if you take the picture and then you decide to paint some wacky shit with soup cans, great.
Yeah, I
but
get
if it's
that,
not
too.
your picture,
Exactly.
Right. You shouldn't be reappropriating.
Yeah, Richard
it's,
Prince.
It's really odd.
Yep.
We should. What I was thinking is that I should go to an art gallery of Richard Prince's, and I should then
Take a
take a
picture
marker,
of it.
draw on
Draw
it,
dicks
and
on
say,
all the-
and put my name on it. And say, wait, no,
Draw
this
dicks
is
on it.
derivative.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then talk like Andy Warhol.
Yes. While you're doing it. While you're doing it. Oh, that sounds
With
like
water
Andy.
in your mouth.
That sounds like Andy as well.
Andy Warhol. I'm gonna have some water in my mouth.
Andy, I thought you were going to swallow.
We just lost our last follower.
No, Gail's still here. She's still here.
Who is Gloria?
Gloria.
Gloria,
Now she left. Now she's gone.
All right, let's go. My face is dribbling.
Nikon has announced the successor to the D7200, calling it the D7500. Some of the top-level specs include a 20.9 megapixel sensor, which is the same one you'll find in the D500.
Which is a great sensor.
Although this is a lower megapixel count than the predecessor, the D7200, which was about 24 megapixels. It also shares the same ISO range, which is 100 to 51,200, topping out at H5 at an insane and unusable
1.36 million.
1.64 million, and a 3.2-inch tilting touchscreen LCD, although the D7500 is thinner than the D500's tilting LCD screen. It now shoots 8 frames per second for up to 50 RAW files with 52 autofocus points. And what does the D500 have? Like 153?
153.
Yeah. But it only has one SD card slot, which the previous generation had dual SD card slots.
I've been thinking a lot about this, Steven. How much is it? $1,200?
$1,250, and also video-wise, real quick, it shoots 4K UHD at up to 30 frames per second, and it's available this summer.
What I'll just say is if you're looking to shoot video, don't buy a Nikon. It's kind of that simple.
Although we shoot all the Photo News Fix videos on your D5.
Oh, and by the way, Nikon has been
And we
kind
shoot the
enough
whole
to give us
podcast.
all the podcasts, all these cameras, the 3 D750s
We
we've
actually,
been using.
come to think of it, we shoot everything on Nikons.
Well, I'm probably going to be buying a 5D Mark IV for the Photo News Fix.
yeah.
And then send it back in and get it fixed
No,
again.
I'm waiting. I'm going to wait till one comes in. I called Brandon. I'm trying to hope that Canon will hook us up, but I don't know that that's going to happen. But I guess a 5D Mark IV would be good in stock, and I just have to figure out what glass to get. But I've been thinking a lot about the D7500. I get what Nikon is doing.
Yeah.
I get that they're differentiating the Pro line from the consumer line. D3400, D5600, D7500.
I feel like they're actually starting to blend together, personally.
Well, but that's why they're differentiated. The one complaint I can't stand hearing from people is no AI lens support. If you're going to have AI lens support, most people buying these cameras are not looking for any bells and whistles beyond what it comes with because they're not going to use old lenses on
Yeah.
it. In fact, I don't know why. I know people are like, well, the old lenses are just so sharp and blah, blah, blah. They're great for video. No, they're really not. They're not great to use, personally speaking. Zoom range, those zoom lenses suck. The prime lenses are fine. But in this day and age, the kit lens is probably just as sharp as a lot of older prime lenses from back in the day. It's stupid stupid that they took out one of the SD card slots because I liked having two.
I wonder if it was for a hardware issue, like if they just couldn't cram it all in there.
And they also are not doing a vertical grip or a grip.
I saw that.
But that makes sense too. Most consumers, why spend the money when 98% of the consumers are not going to buy a grip with that camera? It's just a fact that if you're looking to get like when I never understood when people were like, I have a Rebel, I want to get a grip for it. Well, no, don't get a grip. Get a grip and go buy something else.
Get a grip in life.
Wait, why wouldn't they want a grip though?
Because that camera doesn't deserve a grip.
Yeah, but still, it just makes vertical shooting better,
Yes, it
battery
does.
life. I mean, it's not that expensive to get a better
for
grip.
most people, well, $300. A lot of times they're $300.
Or you get a third-party one or something like that.
Right, which I would never recommend a third-party grip on anything.
Still works.
I would never recommend I don't even recommend third-party batteries. I refuse to sell them at the store.
Yeah, I
hated
agree,
that.
but if you're short on change or something, you
Sure,
know.
if you're short on change, then spend less money and get a D50-600.
Or that.
I just think it's differentiating the 500 and the 7500. I think they're nice companion cameras. If you're trying to decide between the two, the simple thing is you either have glass or you don't have glass. You can take the extra money you didn't spend on the D500 and buy a Tamron 70-200 and be happy all day because it shoots 8 frames a second. Do you know what else shot 8 frames a second? My F5.
I was going to say
my
that's
F5.
enough.
My D2H
For most
shot 8
things.
frames a second. It doesn't shoot 20. Which we'll talk about in just a minute. But that's the D75. So I know a lot of people out there complained about the camera. It's one thing that you complain about a camera you've never used, so you don't know about the quality. There's people sitting there saying, well, it's going to be proven that the D500 quality isn't as good as the D70-200, and I'm losing megapixels, and those megapixels are important when you crop and you shoot nature. It's like, whatever. I'm so over the whole people complaining about gear when we know that even Todd can get good results with a D60,
Better than Dan is what is what I took away from our previous.
Well, we need to
conversation.
critique.
Like who's the better second shooter?
Oh, you
Danny
guys
better.
were looking at.
Previous
Well, we need to
conversation.
critique Dan's work.
way better than Todd's.
He took pictures recently.
All right, let's
Way
keep
better.
going.
Yeah.
So then we have a photojournalist in Syria put down his camera to save a little boy. A photographer and activist, I'm going to butcher this name, ABD, I'm going to say Abd, Alcador,
Abe?
Habak, here, try and read that.
ABBA, Dancing Queen.
Abd Al-Qadar Habak.
Pretty much what I said,
Yep,
yeah.
that's it.
He was on site when a bomb hit a convoy of buses carrying evacuees from Syrian villages, and at least 126 people were killed and many injured, including the photojournalist himself.
Did Donald Trump say anything about this?
This is where he began saving people, including a young boy who many thought was actually initially dead, and he saw that he was breathing, so basically he picked up his camera, picked up the kid as well,
for
and
him.
ran off, yeah. Another photographer now, Muhammad Alrajed, captured the photo of Habak rushing towards the ambulance with the boy and the camera in his arms, which you can see on the screen right now. And this photographer was also helping others, but he wanted to, quote unquote, make sure there was accountability of, him saving the boy. This is where the ethics, though, of photojournalism come into play. Do you not interfere with your surrounding environment and solely document it, or do you act like a freaking human being and save an innocent child that just got, almost blown to pieces?
129 people were killed
129 all in
that blast.
I know the initial was 126, but yeah, it could be
maybe it's
129.
126. I just
They
saw
said
the
at
numbers.
least 126.
It's just absolutely insane what
terrible.
goes on over there.
Yeah.
In general. Yes, there's the ethical thing, and I think what a lot of people say is if there's help already there, you shoot, and if there is no help and you're the difference between...
There was no help.
Right. Well, the ambulances were there coming.
They just came, I believe, as they were wrapping things up.
You gotta, shit.
Because he was in the blast, like I said. He was in the initial.
Yeah.
You put the camera down, you help somebody out. But nobody knows until you're in a situation what you're going to do. And you're not going to...
Fight or flight.
Yeah, you can't say that somebody did something wrong. Now, the only time I will say somebody did something wrong is if they are the difference between life and death or saving something or somebody and they choose not to,
Yes.
then you actively you made a choice to kill that person. Kind of like if you pick up that phone and you call and then there's that... I'm referencing a deep cut into Silicon Valley season 2. So I won't even go. I won't even go into Guilfoyle and that whole thing. But
love
no,
Guilfoyle.
it's just that's what it comes down to for me. I haven't luckily been in a situation like that.
Yeah, it's scary.
But I would say that if you ever are in a situation where You're the difference between life and death. Like somebody hanging off of a building and you choose to take their photo as they fall
And not help
instead
them.
of helping them, then you are an asshole.
I completely agree.
Yep.
You have to be a human being in some certain circumstances,
Yeah.
and this is definitely one of them. But like I agree with what you said, though. If there is help already on the scene, document it, do your thing. But like you said,
Yeah, if you're gonna just be
the
in the
deciding
way-
factor, help away. And you can see an interview with him over on the website, which includes some graphic footage from the post-bombing, and the ambulance is coming, and you can see the kid and everything. It's brutal.
Yeah.
It's definitely brutal. Sony released the answer to DSLR sports shooters wanting a fast mirrorless option.
Allen Iverson?
Allen Iverson introducing the A9, a 24 megapixel full frame sensor, mirrorless camera. It features a new stacked CMOS sensor at its core.
Super stacked.
A chip that Sony says is the first of its kind that enables data speed processing at up to 20 times faster than previous Sony full-frame mirrorless cameras.
That is pretty awesome.
It is.
Well, if it's 20 times faster and they were shooting at like 11 to 14 frames a second, shouldn't it be 20 times faster than that?
That is true.
Because that means I don't know if their facts are right again.
So this thing has a native ISO of 100 to 51,200, they say, in mechanical shutter mode with an expandable high mode of 204,800, but it only goes up to 25,600 natively in electronic shutter mode for stills.
We'll talk about that because the major point of this camera is the fact that they're pushing electronic shutter more than anything.
So yeah, with the electronic shutter, you can get 20 frames per second with no blackout for up to 241 raw photos in a row. Again, they're really pushing it for sports shooters.
Which begs the question of the rolling shutter effect for photos, but they're talking
They
about...
say it's distortion free.
Maybe it's taking an instant readout, though I couldn't tell in the picture, in the animation, what it was doing.
Well, it looked like in the animation they were showcasing that the mechanical cliche DSLR shutter and would basically, the readout for a CMOS
Does it
sensor.
take an instant readout, or is it taking a
It looked like it was
rolling
instant,
readout?
where the CMOS looked like it's going, top to bottom, where this one looked like it was instant reading the entire sensor.
Yeah, because if it could take all the pixels
From their
at
visual,
once,
that's what it looked like.
right. And I mean, if we were invited to the announcement, maybe we would have been able to ask these questions.
They got
but
lost in the mail, I think. Probably
Yeah, I
got
think
lost
the
in mail.
invitation. Yeah.
Yeah, the invitation from Sony. Yeah,
Thanks, Sony.
yeah. Thanks, Sony. So
Maybe,
I had
their
to.
maybe their email got hacked.
So yeah. So what happened is we came in to do RAWtalk, and I opened up the computer, and B&H has a thing that's like introducing the A9, and I'm like, what? So I went home.
That's exactly what happened.
That's exactly what happened. That was the reenactment.
We were literally about to start rolling. Like, it was close.
I'm like, I can't sit here and not go make this video right meow.
And we had to include it in news, obviously.
So I went home and made the video,
Yeah.
right? And then put it up, and it's the point, like it's right up there in the world. Didn't even have to give it to Dan to take 4 hours to put specs in it. I just put it up because all people care about, they want to know just what's going on.
Which all they could do is read B&H and read the
well, they
specs.
could read
or go
it,
to Sony.com.
But it's different when it comes out of my
Coming
mouth.
out of my mouth.
It's different when
Do
it
you
comes
know
out
who
of my
I am?
mouth.
Andy.
Andy does Photo News Fix.
So
Welcome to Photo News Fix.
I like that better, actually.
I'm
I
Andy
do.
Warhol.
I wish we
I'd-
did
I
that.
think I'd prefer that to Jared Polin.
Oh.
Jared Polin.
Andy. Warhol.
It's Andy Warhol.
Not to be confused with the Dandy Warhols.
That's
Which
a
I
deep
promoted for Capital when I worked
Did
for
you
them.
really? I was going to say, how do you know about that?
That's
You're
a
always
deep,
about hip-hop.
deep cut.
I worked for
Yeah.
Capital. I worked for Capital.
We play them all the
did.
time.
That's
Yep.
a deep cut.
So this thing has a 693-point AF system with 93% frame coverage, nearly edge to edge.
Which is insane.
It has a high...
Speaking of insane in the membrane, Todd also picked up Be Real one day at
Insane
the...
in the brain. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was before 9/11, so yes, he had a massive bag of weed in his pocket.
And was he smoking in the car? What,
And as soon as he got in the car, he started rolling. He's like, "Hey, you want this?" I was like, and I was an intern. I was like, "I don't want to."
Were
be
you driving the
responsible for-"
Bentley?
No, it was like an expedition. It was like a massive.
was he in the
truck.
front or the back?
He was right with me in the front seat.
Yeah.
Be Real?
Yeah.
I had to pick up all the artists as well for the radio station. We had to pick them up in like an Explorer or an
Yeah,
Expedition
and I
or
was
something.
like, no, I don't want to be responsible for killing you.
Yeah.
So
But maybe later.
By the
Later,
way, Be
it was
Real
all
looks
right.
exactly like you today.
well, that's because we're brothers.
It's like a spitting image.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
He looks old as
Well, when I...
screw you and screw you.
that was great.
Green Brothers.
So this thing has a high refresh rate, 3600K dot EVF that runs at 120 frames per second.
So that's like 3.6 million dots.
It's a lot of dots. It also has a 5-axis in-body stabilization that offers up to 5 stops of shake reduction, which is kind of standard in all the A7 series right now. Video-wise, it has a full-frame, full-sensor UHD 4K video at up to 30p, but it's downsampled from 6K.
Downsampled like din 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 or
Ahndee.
right.
It finally also sports dual SD card slots.
Boom.
But only one of them is UHS 2 compatible.
At least it has 2.
At least it has 2. You're right. But if you were using both of them, you couldn't have, as fast of a speed as UHS 2 slot.
Which makes no sense. Just put 2 in there.
2 slots are better than 1.
Yeah. It also has a new battery for twice the capacity of previous models, so this will be up to 480 shots.
Which is terrible.
And it has an optional grip that can carry 2 batteries for 950 shots.
Man, the battery life on the Sonys are such garbage, but at least they're acknowledging it and coming out with a new battery that's better, and also the fact that you can get a grip and put 2 of them in there and just get extra batteries. It sucks, whatever, but deal with it.
950 shots isn't terrible.
Yeah, but it also takes into that's a mix of how many videos, how many times are you previewing the images, are you using the live view, are you using the viewfinder,
true.
Is the stabilization on, how many frames a second are you shooting?
I wonder how much power that EVF actually draws from the battery.
Well, the little one probably doesn't draw that much, but you have to remember that the sensor is always on.
Always.
So that's the difference. You're pulling that. Now, I am enthralled by this camera. It's being called a sports shooting camera at 20 frames a second because it's using there's no blackout because it's using the electronic shutter, and which could come in handy for people that shoot golf or in quiet situations where you couldn't prior. Like, could you imagine when somebody's photographing the president? Well, not this any political figure where you're so used to hearing. Instead, you don't
just hear
anything.
silence.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that?
And this obviously has a silent shutter, like all their other mirrorless cameras.
But
I feel like I didn't have to mention that, but yeah.
No, but that's what they're talking about. Is that they're touting the fact that this is more of a.
You won't know when to turn when you're showing your executive order.
Over here,
Did
please.
you get that? I didn't hear it. You got it? No? All right.
So I'm pretty excited to try this out. Like, if it comes out in May, we should get one. We should take it out to the soccer game or any kind of sporting event if we can get glass for it. That is the one thing that still holds everything back with Sony is glass. They have a 70-200. They have a 24-70. They don't have an 11-24.
Yeah.
They don't
They're
have
starting to catch up.
They have an 85-1.4, I believe, but
I heard great things about the G Master, the 7200.
But a lot of people will say, but you can get a Canon mount. But no, I want native lenses. I don't want to have to put it onto an adapter and then put Canon lenses on it. If they would have worked, they should have just made a Canon mount and done that.
It's true. That's very true. Now, the other thing is this price comes in at $4,500. So they're really competing with, say, like the 1DX Mark II, the D5, the high-end sports cameras that cost way over the $3,000 normal price range of a full-frame camera.
So that leaves you some extra money to buy glass.
Not much, but
true.
yeah, it does leave you
That's
with
true.
some extra money. I do think they did answer most of the issues with Sony cameras, the mirrorless line, the battery issue.
Yeah.
So that's the direct comparison, though. It's the 1D.
Oh, I'd put it against a 1DX and a
Yep.
Nikon D5.
flagship of both the
I'd
Canon and
love to see
Nikon
that.
lines.
Yeah,
Just
I'd love to see how that stacks.
Now they also have their Sony A99 Mark II. I mean, that was also their DSLR like
Yeah, I don't know why
sports
they did
camera.
that, but yeah, I don't know why they.
It's
even,
8-mount,
I don't
though,
even
but-
know why they bothered with that one. But the concerns I have are autofocus related always.
Always.
How is the autofocus going to keep up?
That's exactly
I'm
what it
sure
comes
it's going to
down
be
to.
fast, but with 936, 693,
693, yes.
693 focus points. Being able to use the new joystick that they have there, how quickly can you move around? Can you do group area? Will the 3D focus that automatically does it be really good? So is it tight? Because I know when I used the A7 myself, the R2 or whichever one that they sent one day, it always felt like it was slightly off. It just felt like I was missing. It just felt different.
They do say there's like a new 60-point autofocus detection system they have as well. That's supposed to be better
All
for
right.
locking and tracking subjects.
More power to them, because Sony, of all companies, they don't give a shit if they put out a camera 8 months ago. They'll replace it 8 months later.
It's great.
You know, that's what they're doing. So they're pushing the envelope, just like I said in my video, just like the preview video. kind of what they did when Nintendo dropped them and they were working on the CD-ROM drive for Nintendo.
Yep.
And then Sony was like, well,
PlayStation.
we have this technology. Why don't we make PlayStation? And Nintendo shot themselves in the foot back
And
then with
Blu-ray
that.
and everything else. Yep.
All of it.
I do think this is what Sony needed, to really stand out on top of DSLR cameras.
And I love,
now they have
again,
everything.
It's their own lane.
Yeah.
The Sony fanboys are like, oh, now you're going to talk about it and jump on it. Yeah, do something that shows progress.
Yep.
I'm not anti-using anything. If this camera lets me get the results that I want to get better than what the Nikon or the Canon lets me do, then all day I will switch systems if it does that for me.
Because it's just a tool. It's really just a tool.
It's just like Todd. A tool.
Hey.
But it's all about the grip, though. I don't like the positioning of...
You don't like the form
a lot of
factor.
the stuff of how that Sony feels, the
Yeah.
older ones. So I love how the Nikon feels. The Canon's a brick. The 1DX is just so big in the hands.
Massive.
But
That's what she said.
we'll see how it works. That's the point.
May.
In May, $4,500.
All right.
Yep. And Sony is also calling this the most technologically advanced, innovative digital camera that we have ever created.
Ever.
Is that news?
Ever.
And that is it for photo news.
All right, let's
a little
get to-
lighter this week again.
Well, let's
trying
get to
something
Gears
new.
of the Week.
Let's do it.
Gears of the Week.
Plural.
I've got a bunch. Well, I probably have 3 or 4.
Oh.
But we'll start with, why don't I get the aperture thing first?
Oh, yes. We kind of already showed this a little bit
All right,
earlier,
here we
but
go.
So this is the aperture. This is a panel light. It has 2 batteries that you can put in the back. It takes, you can actually...
You can plug it in as well.
We got 5 of them in the mail, and we could connect them all together wirelessly and use a remote to change the color and to change everything. You have the AC power. You can put it, you have a mount right here, so you could go this way. You could go this
Got your
way.
standard quarter-inch.
What's cool about this one, you actually see that on the back, you've got the battery indicator as well as
Turn
the
that a little
brightness
more.
indicator.
yeah. There you go.
That's nice.
So
That's really
and
nice.
then you also have, I'll turn it a little bit like this,
And it'll go
the
from
ability
30
to go from daylight all the way to the tungsten.
Yeah, so it'll go from 3,200 to 5,500. And it's a great little light.
Anyway, they're like
Portable?
Honestly, these are under $300.
They're very
on
affordable.
B&H.
They
Very
are
affordable.
Very affordable and a very reliable color temperature.
Yes.
And that's a hard thing to find.
It is.
Reliable color
for the
temperature
money.
in a
For the money, yeah.
inexpensive price.
Yep.
So that's that for the money. You can't go wrong. We have this is called, and I'm not taking it out of the pack yet.
That's a Ziploc bag.
until I want to use it. This is a 10 terabyte Iron Wolf. WOLF.
They
what they
called
call
me in
Todd
college.
Wolf.
Not Todd
That's what
Wolf.
They called me in college. Iron Wolf. At least at family reunions.
This is a 10 terabyte Seagate hard drive. We have 8 of these. 8 of them to go into the Synology server that Synology sent us to use in the Fro factory. I'm going to have to buy a couple more, 4 more of these to fill those 12 slots.
Giant server rack,
But
yep.
we now have a server to go into our rack that we have, and then Seagate was nice enough to include 8 Iron Wolf 10 terabyte freaking hard drives. 10 terabytes. Hashtag, what was your first hard drive? Actually, not hashtag. What is the smallest hard drive you ever recall having? Mine was 380 megabytes in my first computer.
64. Commodore
64.
64.
That was 64K.
Well, you asked the small.
Oh, I guess. And then this has nothing really to do with photography other than you see me always at Bedia eating pizza. His book came out. It's called Pizza Camp on Amazon. You can pick it up right now on sale for $15 and change. If you want to learn how to make gluten pizza and sandwiches, you can go ahead and do that. And no, I did not take the pictures in the book.
Did they take that picture at his place?
Everything was taken at his place.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the guy did a good job taking the photos. I still like some of my candids more, but this is what they do. The guy does book photos.
Ooh,
and
it looks
the
delicious.
stuff looks, it does. And I wanted to order one tonight, but he's on his book tour. So
Man, good for
I
him,
can't do
man.
that.
Betty,
Wow.
you're blowing up.
Sorry, I can't make you pizzas. I'm too busy jet setting.
Too busy.
I still don't get it. No phone number, no website, nothing.
But a book tour.
Corner store, but a book tour. He's selling out every night.
On Monday, he's
How does that happen?
he's going to cook it. He's making pizza on Friday at some other store somewhere, maybe in Canada, I think.
Oh, he's doing like a guest like pizza.
Yeah, guest pizza.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, sorry, whatever, Todd. All right. That's Gears of the Week.
Yes.
Let's get to flying solos.
Let's do it.
Hold on, Dave.
Put your seats in the upright position and keep your opinions to yourself, because we're flying solo.
Sounds like a sports announcer.
He's the best.
Peter Stevens, hey guys. I recently had a client nitpick the photos that I delivered to her, saying that she looked fat and old and that she didn't look like that in real life. What is the best way to handle clients with a skewed perception of themselves and their body image? Question mark.
Look in a
First, I
mirror.
say, hey, fatty.
It's just that she, and he went on to comment to somebody else's comment. It's just that she doesn't look old and she doesn't look fat. I guess you could say, would you like to sleep with me? And maybe that will make her feel better. I don't know. I think she just has a skewed perspective of herself and is letting self-consciousness get the best of her in the situation. If you ask, like, I'm going to be, this is you. You look perfectly fine to me. But if you don't see that, I'm not going to sit there and tell you that, yes, you're wonderful, you're beautiful, because maybe I think you're actually seeking attention and you just want somebody to reassure you. I deliver you these photos. They look great. I'm going to tell you they look great. And if you have a problem with that and you think you look, and you're going to nitpick the shit out of it, then I'm not going to work with you.
I actually had a similar incident where I took a picture of someone I worked with.
It was Jared.
Was not Jared,
Oh.
but she hated the way she looked, and she said she looked fat and she didn't look beautiful or pretty or whatever. And she basically said she didn't like the image at all, and she wanted me to Photoshop it, quote unquote. And I was like, well, you know, this is how you look. This is
quote,
you,
unquote.
quote unquote. Isn't that what I said? Quote unquote.
I don't sound like you said quote in quote.
Quote in quote, which is what you like to write in
Quote
scripts.
unquote.
Quote in quote.
Which, by the way, you verified when we wrote that script.
It's quote
Yes,
unquote.
it's quote unquote. And then Todd's the one that
That's
corrected
Jersey
us.
talk right there.
Dick.
Radiator.
So anyway, back to the story. She basically said Photoshop it, and I, as a joke, she was a friend. I like crazy Photoshopped it, made her way thin, way thinner than she
she
really is in
loved it.
reality. And she loved it, put it everywhere, posted it as her profile picture, used it for years. And I'm just like, I sent that as a joke. Like I wasn't serious. I just wanted to show you, you know, I could really manipulate your body. And she
Yeah, you
went to
could.
town,
Yeah,
man.
you can.
I mean, I'm saying the picture I photoshopped made it look like she was 100 pounds less than she actually is.
Shut the
So
front
I don't
door.
Yeah.
really know what to tell you to do.
So
in
I would
this
say don't do
situation.
that.
No, don't give him the photo. Like this is the reason I don't Photoshop or touch things up, because this is you.
how you
This is
look.
who you are, and this is how you look. If
Now-
you're not okay with that, you're not okay with that. But if somebody's going to nitpick it, if they're complaining about your work, it's one thing. If they're complaining about the way they look, there's nothing you can do about that. Like when I was shooting a musician, and the management called me, and there was like, "Is there anything you can do about this musician looking stoned?" And I go, "Well, no,
was
he was
stoned.
stoned,
Yeah.
and you were there, and you knew this."
Yep. I will say, like, certain imperfections I will remove if there's a pimple or something that they normally wouldn't have that
Right.
day, and they happen to just have a bad hair day or a bad skin day or
Because
whatever.
I had a bad day, I turned itself down.
Nope.
And see you
Nope.
around.
I will
No.
touch that up. Or if it's a low angle or it was shot wrong or just it was more the framing,
Yeah.
I will reshoot it. But when it comes down to just the way you look, it's the way
I mean,
you
the only
look.
thing I can say is if you have that a lot, then maybe it's the perfect opportunity to have an upcharge for photoshopping and doing all
true.
that. Then
Yeah.
just make it an upcharge.
Yep.
Brendan
That's a good idea.
Lane. Hi, guys. I know you would be very busy and was just wondering if you could help with a lens selection.
Sorry,
Smile
I
face.
can't. I'm busy right now.
I love getting photos of wildlife, and this is going to be a little longer, but I thought it was important to say.
Okay.
And like to get more zoom than what the kit 135 gives me. Haha. I have a Canon 80D, and I know that you have to add the 1.6 and also onto the aperture, which is wrong.
Wrong.
You add the 1.6, but you don't multiply. You don't lose a stop of light. See, this is where people getting super technical, telling people that it's not really a 2.8. It actually acts as an f4. No, it's a 2.8 all day long. A 2.8 on a DX camera and a 2.8 on a full frame camera are still 2.8 in gathering light.
Yeah, exposure-wise, it's still exactly the
So
same.
stop. You're getting confused. Yes, you multiply the lens by 1.6, but you do not lose a stop of light because you put a DX, you put a full, whatever lens you put on, you don't lose that light. So I've been looking and have narrowed it down to something like the Canon 100 to 400 4556, the Tamron 70 to 200 2.8 DI, the new one, the G2 right over there, would be open for other options. The reasons why the Tamron is because on the APS-C it would be a 112 to 320 f4, and a 1.4 tele on it would make it a 150 to 5.6. Well, no, that's wrong too. You're multiplying too far.
Math.
A 1.4x on top of it is you go from 2.8 to f4. not to 5.6. A 2x converter would go to 5.6. I personally hate 2x converters. I think you lose way too much quality, at least from the ones I've used. You lose focus speed and you lose quality because now you're putting another piece of glass in front of another piece of glass. It creates an issue for me personally.
Well, I did that
wouldn't do
because you said glass, 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 so I just put them all in front of each other.
Well, real quick though, before you get into that more, would you rather have a teleconverter, 2x, or crop and post if you need to get the shot and you can't get it with what you have?
I think I'm cropping all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This would be about the same price in the Canon, but not with a 5.6, where the Canon I just can't read this guy's numbers anymore, so I'm just going to try and help you out. If you're looking for more reach for wildlife, the 100 to 400 is going to be a nice option because you multiply that by 1.6 and have a super telephoto. 400 times 1.6 is super long at 4.5 to 5.6 because you're not losing light. So if you're going to be shooting outside, this lens is going to be better. If you're going to be doing a lot indoors and you need better low light capabilities and you want to shoot portraits, then a 70-200 is going to come in handy. But you said wildlife, 100 to 400.
Yeah.
Boom.
And stop.
It's a pretty solid range.
Yeah. Oh, God, it still goes on. Okay, next. Nicholas Pena. Hey, Fro, the gang. It has been my experience in the past when working with insurance companies that you must provide receipts to file a claim. I currently have 2 lenses that I purchased, one from a friend and one from Craigslist, that I do not have receipts for. Will insurance cover these lenses, or am I out of luck? Do you know if there is a different procedure for insuring these types of purchases? By the way, keep up the great work. So first off, I am not a licensed insurance professional, but what I would say is get documentation that you got the lens from these people and use that acting as a receipt saying, I bought this used from you on Craigslist. Have them sign it.
Yeah.
Generally
That's what I've
speaking,
done.
if you have that lens and you have a photo of it and you have the video, you put it in your My Gear Vault. This is where My Gear Vault, not to shamelessly plug it, because I'm not going to say not to shamelessly plug, because I hate when people say not to interrupt you and they actually are interrupting you. And so not to say not to plug it, because I'm actually plugging it. You take a picture of it in your My Gear Vault that shows that you have possession of that lens and you own it. I mean, yes, you could lie and say you don't own it, but that would just get you in trouble. You're not going to report a stolen lens as stolen anyway in the long run. So put it in there, take the picture, say that you bought it on Craigslist, and if not, 85% of your other things have receipts and everything, they're not most likely going to give you shit for having a couple like that. So.
And wouldn't they have some sort of email exchange from Craigslist
Yeah,
saying
but
that
like I just said, just ask for a signed document.
something.
There's some
Something
sort of
typed up.
paper trail that you can have or follow back up.
Yeah,
on
there's
to
gotta be
get-
something.
get-
And so
yeah.
especially with the internet. Yeah.
Most insurance companies, they are not humans. They are very analytical, and so they look for many reasons to say no. But if it's just a couple lenses that do this, then it's not that big of a deal, especially if you have the photos and the serial numbers, and you have all of that on file. So,
And what if you have photos that have the tag on them, like that it was shot with this lens?
Oh, the metadata.
Yeah, the metadata.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be helpful? Maybe.
sure.
Might be too complicated for them.
No, but at least you say, look, I've had this lens for years, and then they see that you have it. Because if you stole something, you're most likely not insuring it. I don't think
Probably.
So.
Yeah.
Dominic Anthony Quato. Quarato. Hey, Fro, Steven, and Todd. No, Dan. It doesn't even say that, so it doesn't even mention Dan. I think this is an age-old question. It's probably been asked a million times, but I can't seem to find the right answer for me. I live about 20 minutes north of Boston, Massachusetts, not Austin. And I was wondering, how does one get paid gigs? ? I tried Facebook and paid advertising on there as well as Instagram and nothing. I've gotten 2 paid gigs in the last month. Well, so I guess it's working. That's
right.
something.
Yeah.
And while those were fun with great experience, I'm hungry for more, like a wolf. Any tips? I just started a website with Squarespace, by the way, and I plan on updating my blog on there, maybe to grab some traffic through Google or something. Thanks, guys. The answer is, wait for it, get the fuck out and meet people. Go out into the world and network with people. Because if you throw shit against the wall in advertising, it may not stick. That's not human contact. You want to meet people and you want to get out into the world, and then you can subsidize it with ads in the future because it's going to dollar cost average. Oh, I went here and I got like weddings. You pick. I tried advertising. This is pre-Facebook time, pre all that. Advertising in circulars in the back of these books, these little bullshit ads.
That's so funny.
And I'm
That would never work
I'm like,
today.
Really? Like, I'm paying money for this?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to see that. There's nothing personal. They
Your
just see
grandma
the
will.
name.
Yeah.
It's like, that's just stupid. So I'm just going to yell at you and say, get out and go meet people.
So much of it is word of mouth.
Yep.
Word of mouth and networking.
Yep.
That's it. That's it.
Good on him for at least getting 2 jobs, though.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
David Charles Claus, no relation to Santa. What should I do next time it starts to rain on my photo shoot and I get... Oh, fuck. Speaking of rain, where is my
Where's your umbrella?
My new umbrella didn't come. It was supposed to be here Tuesday.
That could have been gear of the week.
No, it couldn't be. I
Why?
bought it because I actually paid for it.
So?
I like when people give us stuff, I'll give them promotion.
Or you just showcase what you bought.
Or just wear
There's
it the
been
whole
plenty of
show.
times
I'm
where you've
gonna
showcased
wear the
what you
new
bought.
umbrella. We're gonna do something with the new umbrella. Of
course.
It was supposed to get here on Tuesday.
Maybe
I don't know,
it's
man.
out by the chair out on the...
Yeah, maybe it was
out
coming
on Frankfurt.
FedEx too this time. Rain, blah blah blah. Get rain on my art lens, and there's no. I got to start this one. I'm going to read it again. David Charles Claus, what should I do next time it starts to rain on my photo shoot, and I get rain on my art lens, and there's no rice and a bag available?
Is it just raindrops?
And our lens
or?
is sealed after the extending portion of, say, 24 to 70. What if that sleeve gets wet? I've shot in mist and rain and ocean spray and deserts and...
DNA.
Well, you have weather sealed lenses.
I do, but
though.
he has an art lens.
Yeah.
If your lens gets wet, don't worry about it. If you're drowning it, then you may have an issue. But this whole you don't have rice. Rice is it's like one of those wives' tales that if you put your phone in rice, it's going to suck the
Soak it up.
moisture out,
Yeah.
which maybe it will, or get silica beads and put it in your bag. Just don't eat them. And maybe that does it, but I wouldn't worry about this. This is part of the reason you get higher end glass or lenses. They're built better, they're weather sealed, but even on the lower end, it's not that big of a deal. But anything, of course, could go wrong if it gets into a crack. Taylor Stone, hey Fro, recently started my photography website. Thanks for suggesting Squarespace. And now that I have more business coming in, I can afford some new gear. I'm not sure if I should get a backup body. I was thinking a 5D Mark II. Absolutely not.
Back that ass up.
Or expanding my lens collection. Always expand your lens collection. I'm happy with my current lenses. I use 50 millimeter. That's one lens. I'm current lens. Oh, you have one lens. That's not good that you have one lens. But I wanted to have more variety, such as a wide angle. Well, that's a good choice. Which would you suggest? Thanks again for your promo code for Squarespace, FroKnowsPhoto.com/Fro. I love my site and I love your videos. So for the longest time, I've honestly never had a backup, Steven. Still don't technically have a backup. I own my F5, my D5.
I mean, me too. I've never, ever
I have the
had a
luxury
legit
of having
backup.
all these cameras now, and
Yeah.
I will throw one in the bag. But even when I shot weddings, I didn't have a backup. Yeah, it was a risk, but I also had the top-of-the-line pro bodies that you hope don't go bad, and you hope that they don't get messed up.
And it comes down to those trusted brands, as we said before, like Canon and Nikon have always been known to be workhorses where you can bring them out and get it rained on or whatever, and they're still working nonstop.
I feel like if you're at least a part of a community to a certain degree, hopefully your backup camera is your buddy's camera. Like, hey, something just crapped.
Yeah,
out
But that's
now.
more though when
that's
you're
more when you're on a photo
on
shoot
location.
and
If you're
something
on the
goes
shoot,
bad.
Then you're
Look,
for video stuff,
SOL,
I
you know?
personally always brought a backup. I'll bring like the 60D, even after I had my 5D, just in case. But that's just me on
But
video.
in this case, you have one lens. You need to have more lenses before you buy a body. And then why
I
would you
agree.
buy a 50? I do not recommend buying the 5D Mark II. A 5D Mark III as a backup, yes. At this point, not of Mark II at this point.
he's shooting stills, right? Not video.
It didn't mention, but that's my answer.
Yeah.
James Taylor. Ooh, he's seen fire.
Hey.
He's seen rain. He's never heard that before.
Yep.
Hey, Fro, I've started shooting weddings. I have 2 D750s and really want to know what you'd recommend for using the second card slot for storing your weed. Should I use it to back up or to overflow? I'm conscious using as a backup. I don't know what that says.
Words.
Using as a backup effectively halves the amount of cards I have available, while overflow gives the risk of losing data on. Who cares? Look, so here's the answer to what you do with the second card slot you have in any camera that you have. You put 2 cards in it and you shoot redundant. You don't shoot overflow for still photos. Overflow means you finish filling up 2,000 shots on this card, it overflows to the next card. That's stupid. You have 2 card slots. Cards are cheap. Don't cheap out. Put 1 card in one slot, 1 card in the other slot, and let it be redundant, just in case anything happens. Spend the money on the extra cards so you have the peace of mind.
So good.
And there you go.
Couldn't
Dan.
agree
so
more.
good. You're really good at
Thanks,
this.
guys. That's because I wanted to.
So
I wanted to
good.
isolate the micro content for later.
I saw that was
dirty
so
jobs.
good.
Yeah.
Andrew Scott, hey Fro and the gang, shooting a D300S Sigma 17 to 50, Nikon 35mm, Nikon 50mm, and a 55 to 200. Shooting weddings and family portraits. Where should I invest next? Backdrop and studio flashes? You don't need a freaking backdrop anymore in this day and age. Don't spend money on a backdrop. Budget $300 to $400. Backdrop flash budget $300 to $400. I don't know what that means. Glass, 70 to 200, Sigma G2, or new body, D500 or D750. Not so big on the budget with body. I know they're expensive. Really want to know what direction I should start to invest in first. Thanks for all the great tips, so on and so forth. You do every week, Andrew and Andre Scott. Well, the D300S is long in the tooth. And
Haven't heard that name in a while.
he's got a 17 to 50, a 35 to 50, and then the 55 to 200. Not
a bad range for DX.
You could buy a D7500 that's coming out and have extra money instead of buying a D500 and buy the Sigma at the same time and get rid of the 55 to 200, and you're going to be in a pretty good place.
What is his budget, though?
He didn't say but not big. But I would just say if you have $2,000 right now, you buy the D7500 and you buy a 70 to 200 Tamron.
Yeah.
And you just get rid of your D300S or keep it as not even a backup because it's not very good anymore. And get rid of the 50
Sigma
to 200.
It's a Tamron G2 he means, right?
Yeah, did he say Sigma?
He says Sigma G2.
He means Tamron.
Yeah.
And then when Sigma comes out with one, I'd probably recommend both that as well. Paul Chapin. Hi, Fro, Stephen, Todd, and Dan. I know previously you have said that YouTube ad revenue only makes up a small amount of your income. I am interested on your thoughts about the current ad boycott that is going on and YouTubers' responses. It appears that many channels with less family-friendly content have had videos demonetized. Have you been affected by this? And if so, would you change your content in order to keep ads on your videos? I've seen a couple of videos that were demonetized. I could, but they were super old videos. I don't know. Super old ones.
It wasn't cooking with Jared, was it?
No.
Okay.
I'm not going to go back and appeal these old ones that get no views anyway. So I've had two videos. One was the guy who shot and murdered the Russian ambassador. So I understand why they don't want to run ads on that.
Yeah.
But this brings up another piece of bullshit is when you're on CNN or any of those sites and it's like breaking news and you go to watch the video and you have a 30-second ad for something, why aren't they getting upset about that? When they're about to show some bullshit news story that happened that's terrible, they still put an ad in front of that.
That's their player, though, right?
That's their own player. So the advertiser should be pissed about that. Also, anyway, no, I would not change my content to get me more ad revenue because ad revenue doesn't account for a massive amount of money. Last question, Dan. Dave Drew Pion. Have you noticed a negative impact of having bi-weekly Raw Talks? I miss them. Well, sorry that you missed them, but I've actually seen the opposite when it comes to the numbers. We've seen the numbers of downloads of audio go up per episode, and views are about the same on YouTube. So, no. And I also think freeing up has allowed us to do Photo News Fix
more.
and a lot of other stuff.
Yes.
So, no, I do not see Raw Talk coming back to 2 a week.
And I think the Photo News Fix fills that void for at least the photo news aspect of the show, not so much the banter between us
And then we
and
can
the Flying
just do more
Solo.
interrupting during Raw Talk.
Exactly.
You'll be interrupted soon.
Okay. So that's Flying Solo. Let's get to spinning this wheel thing.
do
We've
it.
got Kessler Crane. Go to kesslercrane.com/Fro. Use the code Fro
10
for
for 10% off.
10% off at kesslercrane.com. We got Spin Again. We've got the Canon. Win a printer from them. I love that. I love their printers.
Yeah, they just helped us out, actually. They
Pro
came by
4000.
and,
That
told us how to
thing-
actually use properly the Pro 4000.
We weren't that far off.
No, you were pretty
if
good.
anything.
Yeah.
Other than me jamming something in a hole too tight. Remember?
That's what she said.
Happens to the best of us.
Well, no, that's into the core. I screwed it up. Anyway, AdoramaPix.com. Go to AdoramaPix.com/Fro to put a cookie on your browser so that if you do make an order, I get credit for it. That's important. LensMugShop.com. We've got ThinkTankPhoto.com or ThinkTankPhoto. It's where we get our bags. We got Gaffer Power. Check out the Gaffer Power video that we did for 18 different ways for using gaff tape. Go to gafferpower.com. Use code FRO15 to get 15% off. We got store.FroKnowsPhoto.com to get any of my shirts or my bags or anything else you would like. Rode microphones. We use those each and every week. We probably should get a new picture on there because the Video Mic Me no longer fits into my phone. We should probably put something else up there.
Do they have a lightning adapter for like something like your phone?
They have a lightning adapter for, I think, the stick mic, a digital mic like that, but
nothing right now for like the
right
iPhone
now.
7.
Not that I know of.
Gotcha.
We've got Lexar. We use Lexar cards and don't cheap out. They're not that expensive to get quality cards.
You just actually bought another XQD module. I
bought I bought an XQD module. It's because we've been using the phone, the
D5.
So
you were the only one with
whatever.
The module.
So I bought an extra one. Didn't even ask them to send it to us. So I bought it.
Yeah, they're not.
Well, it's $43. It's double the price for an XQD than it is for SD or any of the other modules.
CFast?
CFast is expensive as shit.
Yeah.
We've got atmosphere aerosol. That's gonna leave a mark. Atmosphere aerosol code FRO10 to get 10% off. We got Hoya. We've got store.FroKnowsPhoto.com. By the time you're seeing this, the sale is over for the guide that we put on sale. Squarespace.com/go. Squarespace.com/fro to get your 14-day free trial. Use this code FRO at checkout to get 10% off your first order, and that helps me out. Videoblocks.com/go/fro. We've got the Think Tank, the I Shoot Raw bag. Go to store.FroKnowsPhoto.com to pick up my bag. Dan does the shipping on that now. Got Rode microphones once again. This is the NT USB is what I've been using at home.
Yeah.
Love how much
Sounds great.
boomier that is. The reason that's boomier is that's a different type of mic than the Podcaster. The Podcaster's more flat for you to go ahead and take into post and boomify yourself.
Yep.
But I don't do that stuff, and that takes us to the top. Now it's time to spin the wheel and pick a wiener.
Let's do it.
Yay.
Bang, 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 bang.
Ba-ba-ba-ba! Congratulations
So close.
goes to Taylor Stone.
Yay!
You've won something from Video Blocks, which will help you do something.
Do video.
Video related.
Hopefully they do video.
Hey, my chair is now. My wheel is stuck. All right, let's get to the memes.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go with memes. You can send them to singwheelofro@gmail.com.
Where nobody sings.
Where nobody sings anymore. Let's get to the first one.
Let's
First
do it.
one is from our friend Tried and True, Broxy Bear. This
Holy
is the Dukes of Fro.
Wow.
and Adam makes a rare appearance as Boss Hog. By
Oh
the
my
way.
God.
He looks like
Look at-
God.
Look how good. Oh, I'm the girl.
I look amazing, by the way. My guns are incredible, as well as my Lord and Savior shirt.
That's
I think
incredible.
Jared looks. He looks so pretty.
I mean,
Andy.
the Badonkadonk's about to sing.
Andy.
We got the drone up
Next
there too.
one is from Eric Dunas. This is straight out of context. Front side of this t-shirt says Crush the Blacks. On the back, straight out of context.
Yeah, we had a discussion once about a shirt, and I can't even say what it is because Todd said, no, I can't do it.
Oh yeah.
I was like, but this is funny.
No, it
Nope.
wasn't. Next one's from Urko-san. This is Jared's new app. Jared's burst mode punishing app. Ouch.
Well, basically, it's in reference to when I said if you take 50 frames in a row, I'll punch you in the face.
There you go. Next one's from Issa D. This is Gaffer Mummy.
Another use for gaffer tape. Mummify YouTube photographers.
There's that. Next one is from John McHugh. This is the Fro Spray. He recommended in the email that Steven and I use this whenever Jared's out of line.
I'm not out of line. You're out of line.
Why would they name that bitch spray?
It's for dogs.
I know
there's
it's
a
for
little
dogs,
dog
but
there.
it says helps protect bitches.
Well, that's what you need to do every once in a while. Next one's from Felicia's Photo. This is Steven Trump.
Just make sure. I'm Tack.
Just make sure I'm Dak, Steven, okay?
Got ya.
Where's that photo from? Oh, you from your ride at Disney?
No, that's actually from...
Is it from the train or something?
It was a bus ride to like
Oh.
AC for my friend's like 21st birthday, like 10 years ago.
Classic Steven.
Classic. Because I never
His hair
update my
still looks the
profile
same.
picture.
This
Yeah.
next one's a good one from Rob Santos. This is his version of the Fro Factory. This is what
shit.
he thinks happens at the Fro Factory.
This is like exactly what happens
This
at
is
the Fro
exactly
Factory.
what the Fro Factory
Look
looks
at all
like.
the Porsches out front.
There's me up in the window, by the way, creeping upstairs.
Meredith's downstairs.
I've got a clown costume. Crayon
Oh,
costume.
there you are. That's right.
Do you know how old this street photo is? Do you know how I know?
How?
Well, I don't see the Canon PT. Actually, it's not that old, but the PTZ camera isn't hanging yet.
Well, and there's not a building next door to you, obviously.
Oh,
Yeah.
and there's
Well,
no building next door yet.
Although I love the awning out front that looks like an old, theater.
The Fro Factory one?
Yeah, that looks
that's cool.
amazing.
It does
So
actually look great.
We should probably do
should.
that.
Jason talked about putting an awning in.
That if it looked like a theater entrance, that looks fucking awesome.
That's
so
incredible.
thank you. We'll steal that.
I love Naruto
Oh, and by the way,
hanging
there's
out.
boxes out front that the UPS guy just left there.
This one's awesome. That's great.
And a
That took some
vacuum?
time.
Oh, it's a fun vacuum.
I was wondering why it's a vacuum there.
And by the way, there's a monkey on the one Porsche. There's Naruto, and I think that's Becky hanging out on the corner, probably because Meredith is in the window then, and I think that's probably Charlie Gluten on the street.
Oh, that is Meredith.
And why is the Ghostbusters car there?
I don't know, but it's pretty sweet.
Well, that's probably Steven's car because he's a nerd.
All right.
And finally, this is from Spencer Mugger. These are Meredith shells. I think he
They
found
are.
these online. The Skynet air to ground, but it looks like it's a net inside that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they
interesting.
usually parachute down, right, or something like that.
No.
Which
this
I'd
is
like
just-
to try it.
Or does it shoot out and
like
just
to shoot
fire off
that
a
at,
net?
Like Dan.
Well, maybe Dan, make a note. Let's order some of these and go to the shooting range.
Look what it says. Don't be a victim. Skynet. Skynet. Ground to air.
Don't let any real estate guy take video of your house.
All right.
Especially when your daughter's
That's
sunbathing
all.
out back.
Those are really good.
That was
Fro
really good.
Factory crushed. Well, as soon as I saw that,
That one's a clear winner.
and Broxy Bear, he just games the system.
Well,
At this
Broxy
point.
Bear already won
He already
stuff.
owns everything.
Proxy Bear, just huge shout out as usual.
Yeah, he's
So
the
let's
best.
give it to this Rob Santos.
Rob Santos all day.
and
very, very clever.
You know, the Crush the Black straight out of context.
That
is
one was pretty good too.
That's pretty good. Yep.
So we'll go with those two.
Yeah, that
Sounds
works for
good.
me. So Eric Duenas and Rob Santos.
I'm like, where'd they get this clear of a picture of the Fro Factory? That's what I'm still trying to figure
It's
out.
probably from you.
I've never posted, I don't think,
Is it
a
Google
photo like this.
It's probably Google
Street
Maps.
View
It
or
may
something?
be a Google
or-
Street View.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks kind of high up though, doesn't it?
Well, no, but that's because it's always on top of a car.
But
remember?
it still looks almost higher than that, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Well, I'm trying to see the garden area to see how old that is. But no, I mean, it has the door upstairs. So
Yes,
it's pretty
I'm
new.
back.
The windows are all
there.
new too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so it's definitely fairly new, this image.
Well, that looks
Unfortunately,
awesome.
there's
That's what
no
the factory
picture of
looks
me
like.
there.
So many Porsches.
Those billboards are actually real too, by the way.
So there you have that. That is pretty cool. Dan, you want to bring over some hashy tags? Not
Hashy
hash,
tags?
Not hash,
Some
but
hash?
hashtags. Please pass them over, but don't read my notes.
I didn't read it.
Let's see how Dan
Hashtag
does.
CLOG.
Oh, clog.
Hashtag Lynn Goldsmith should win. And that's what we have this week.
Way to go, Dan. Way to go.
All right, guys. So there you have it. That's
Hashtag Ahndee Polin.
Ahndee.
If you made it this far, hashtag Ahndee Polin.
Ahndee. That's A-N-D-Y.
And what he'll do on his next web video is just steal yours and color it,
Yes.
which is like our news anyways.
So there you have it, guys. That is RAWtalk episode 218. Thank you guys very much for watching. Be sure to check out the Photo News Fix. They go up often.
Yeah.
More often than RAWtalk.
Put on your notifications so you don't miss them.
Yeah.
Ding.
That's it. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.